rotation around the coordinate axis. When you are talking about rotation in x-axis, so this is the object, and that is to be rotated like this. And when you are talking about rotation about y-axis, this is the y coordinate, and then the object is placed somewhere here, and it can be rotated like this, and it can rotate like this. Similarly, along z-axis, it can be rotated like this. So in this again, counterclockwise direction is taken as positive, and clockwise direction is taken negative. Anti-clockwise direction is always taken positive. And this is being told to you in the morning also, or in the last lecture. These are some of the diagrams to explain you the different rotation that are there. Rotation can be in x along x direction, rotation can be along y direction, and it can be along z direction. So these are the matrices for x, y, and z. You can note this down. I will even share that this PPT after the completion of this session. Now, scaling. So Sx, Sy 00 and 00 Sy 00. So this is again 3D scaling of the figure. Now this is the diagram that is representing scaling. We have enlarged this length of this particular flower pot. Scaling an object so that transmission will also move its position relative to original position. So this is the matrix in case of 3D scaling. Reflection over plane lines or points. Sometimes when you are talking about reflection, so the matrices are given with you. If it is along the xz yz plane and it is reflected along yz plane, the matrix that is there is -100 and 0100 and 0010 and 001. You need not to do that reflection that is along x-axis, along y-axis, along z-axis. Then there may be different number of planes. You need not to do that in case of 3D. You need to understand this much only. So when it is being reflected along YZ plane, it will be reflected like this, and this matrix is to be used for that. And if it is reflected along YZ plane, so then this matrix is to be used 100 or 10000010000 minus 10 and 0001. And if it is to be reflected along XZ plane, this can be used, this you can use this formula or this matrix for that, solving that particular problem. And if it is to be reflected along z-axis, then it is to be written like this. So this is the chapter related to transformation. So we are finished with this chapter. Now what is the finite element method and how to use it? So there are finite element methods. There are a number of methods that we are going to study. The finite element method is very popular method based upon discretization of component into finite number of flows. Discretization is, you can see this diagram at the bottom of the screen. This is called discretization. This part is being divided into very small parts. This is discretization of component into finite number of blocks. And these small blocks, these are called elements. Application areas where it can be used, this FEM is linear measurement, non-linear measurement, thermal studies, dynamic studies, buckling and fatigue analysis. So this is the finite element method. Now finite difference method. Finite element and finite difference share many common things. General finite difference method is described as a way to use differential equations. Here we use differential equations to solve the problem related to this linear, non-linear, thermal and dynamic problems like that. It uses Taylor series to convert differential equation into algebraic equations of higher order than that terms neglected. Then finite volume method. All computational fluid dynamics softwares are based on Whenever you are talking about volume, that means you are talking about fluid mechanics. So if you want to calculate the thermal analysis, we want to do thermal analysis, dynamic analysis, linear and non-linear analysis on some fluid that is moving, but that is continuously moving. In that case, we are using finite volume method. So unit volume is considered in finite volume method. Instead of using the whole volume, you will use a unit volume for calculation purpose. It is very much similar to that of finite element method, and variable property that not the pressure value, velocity, area. Some of the variables in this particular case is pressure, velocity, area, and mass. It is based on Navier-Stokes equation. This particular equation we are going to do it in fluid mechanics. That is related to mass, momentum, and energy conservation. Then boundary element method. It is a very powerful and efficient technique to solve according to noise, vibration, and hardness problem. Just like finite element method, it also required nodes element, but as the name suggests, it considers only the boundary of the circuit. It basically depends on it calculates all the forces or stresses that are existing at the boundary conditions of the particular element. So what is the need of FEM? Why we move to FEM? What is the requirement of FEM? Engineering strength of materials or mathematical theory of elasticity can be used to calculate analytically these stresses and strains in a blanket. So in general, when you study about the strength of materials and different other theory of elasticity, etc., so you can use them to check stresses and strains and bends and beams that are there in a car. But actually, the car that is manufactured is having number of parts whose stresses and strains cannot be calculated by simple technique. But neither will be very successful in finding out what is happening in a part of a car suspension system during car movement. While taking sharp turns and all that, what is happening, what type of stresses are being occurring on the suspension system of that particular car. It is very difficult to analyze that analytical with the help of transformation. Many applications involve cases with complex state, boundary condition, and material behavior. As I have told you earlier also, you can calculate that the stresses in a beam, you can calculate in a cantilever, number of different figures. But the parts that are there in a particular car and some other machinery, they are very complicated in case. So it is very difficult to calculate the different types of analysis that is to be done with the help of simple calculation of some theory. Therefore, a gap exists between what is needed in application and what can be solved by analytical form method. So there is a gap between what can be done with the help of strength of material and what is required. So that gap is going to be filled with the help of FEM, find the element method. So this leads to development of several numerical and computation schemes, including silent difference, silent element, and boundary element method. That we have already discussed in last slide. That what is this finite difference method, one element method, and boundary condition method. So there was actually a gap between what can be calculated with the help of strength of material, formulas of strength of material, and what is actually required. So that gap is going to be filled with the use of this finite element method. You may all have somewhere heard about that ANSYS software. I don't know whether you are aware about that or not. ANSYS is a analysis software, or some when you want to analyze for different types of stresses on a particular car and object, we use ANSYS method. So ANSYS is basically based on FEM, finite element, right? Now, I'm going to share you one picture also. What happens when it is put in some software? Let me show you. Now, this is the part that is to be designed. When you apply this FEA on it using ANSYS software, so this you can see this part is being divided into number of small triangles, rectangles, and so on, whatever that particular part may be. First of all, what is the first property that is to be done is by FEA is you will divide the whole surface into very small parts on which that you know how to calculate that stresses and different things that is required. Now, when you pass through some software, it will show you some blue areas, some yellow areas, some green areas, and some red areas. When you go for some stress analysis, the area which is blue, it is very least prone to fracture, and the areas which are having red areas, that means this area, they are more prone to fracture at this time, and they are not in danger case. Yellow is not in danger case. Red becomes a danger sign. So it gives you red, yellow, and green and blue areas of a particular part when you go for a stress analysis of a particular object. Right? This is all about FEM. Now, what is FEM? Why? What is the need of FEM? We have studied about that. Because of the gap between what can be calculated with the help of sensor material, what is required in the industry. So there was a gap. So that gap, to fill that gap, this FEM technique was used at that time, and that's why we are studying about this. Now, finite element method is a numerical technique for finding approximate solution to boundary value problem for partial difference. Now, in this case, we apply boundary conditions and we calculate for the boundary value problem for partial differential equation with the help of. In simple terms, FEM is a method of dividing up a very complicated problem into a small subregions called elements that can be solved in a relation to each other. Now, basically, what is FEM? What FEM does is it divides that complicated figure into very small parts, and that those small parts you already know how to calculate the different calculation or analysis that is to be done on that particular part, right? It will divide that into rectangles. You already know how to rectangular figure, how to calculate the stress on a rectangular figure. That will divide that into a triangle. That will divide that into uh, some other part, say into sphere, right? So these figures, the stresses and different analysis that is required can be solved easily, and then combining these will result into the total result. The process of dividing the continuum into elements is called as discretization. As I have told you that the surface of a particular figure that is to be analyzed for, maybe thermal related, it may be for stress and all that. That process of dividing that particular surface into very small elements is called discretization, also called as meshing also. So it is important. So sometimes it may be asked, what is discretization? Discretization is the process of dividing the continuum into elements is called discretization. Useful for problems with complicated geometry, loading of material properties where analytical cannot be achieved. As I told you that if it is a simple figure, you can calculate stresses and all different thermal analysis just by applying some boundary condition and all that. But if it is a very complicated geometry figure, then it is very difficult to calculate them with the help of Sturm degree. That's the formula that you are provided in Sturm degree. So in that case, you need to divide that particular part into number of small parts, and then you apply the same method or same formulas on that, and then to to solve for the stretching and thermal masses. The technique has very wide application, has been used problem solving, stress analysis, fluid mechanics, heat transfer, diffusion, vibration, electrical and kinetic. Now this technique is being widely used for stress analysis, fluid mechanics related problems, heat transfer, diffusion and vibration, etc. The concept of FEM, the concept of FEM is all about discretization, dividing a big structure component into small discrete blocks, nodes, and element concept. What do we do? This means meshing. Why do we do meshing? Right, with the meshing, you just divide that part into very small parts. With dividing that into small parts, you are able to calculate different types of. You are able to do analysis on very small parts, and then you club the all the analysis that is done to give the desired result. So there are two types of discrete meshing that is shown on your screen. One is the dot, and another one is this. The number of points are infinity. Degree of freedom per point is 6. The total number of equations to be solved is infinity. Now, if you take a body as a whole, as a dot, as a whole, and then you try to solve this, it is having infinity number of equations to be solved to do that calculation part. Similarly, if you divide this, suppose a circle is there, then you divide this into 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 figures. Number of points are 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You calculate it, it will be 8. And degree of freedom per point is 6. Then total number of equations that is required is 40. So from infinity, you have brought the number of equations to 48 only. From infinite to finite, hence the term finite. So from this method, for infinite, we have came to finite number. So hence the name came finite element method. Now basic terms that are used in FEM that we are going to study is meshing, discretization, element, node, degree of freedom, nodal forces and boundary conditions. Yes, we are going to study step by step. Now let us start with meshing. Meshing is subdividing part geometry continuum is called mesh. As you are able to see a figure that is being divided into number of small parts, number of small triangles. So this is the finite element, and it is called mesh. That particular lines that divide the whole surface into small triangles and rectangles. It is called mesh, and this small part as it is being shaded. This particular small shaded region is called element. Any of the number of this triangle, these are come under the element. You can call it element. So we are done with the meshing. We have done with the element. Now node. Now you can see this diagram. The corner points of this mesh, corner points of this mesh is called node. So these are located at the corner of end or endpoints of element. In order to elements or nodes, are placed side by faces as well as interior of the this particular element. So the node can lie inside and that can lie outside of the this is also a node. This is also a node. These dots are also node of this particular mesh that is being generated. Right? Now degree of freedom. What is the degree of freedom? Now degree of freedom specifies the state of element. Normally each node has 6 degree of freedom. 3 in linear displacement along the coordinate and 3 rotary motion in these 3 axes. Now let me explain what is the degree of freedom. Degree of freedom is actually a movement. There can be 6 degree of freedom. Let me explain that on the board. then only you will be able to understand. X, Y, and Z. These are the three coordinates, right? In 3D, these are the three coordinates X, Y, and Z. Now, an object can move in X direction, an object can move in Y direction, up and down, this movement, and it can move in Z direction, this one. So these are the three degree of freedom. This a particular element can move like this, it can move like this, it can move in third coordinate Z direction, right? Similarly, that object can rotate along Z axis, it can rotate like this, it can rotate like this, and it can rotate like Z direction now. So these are the three coordinates. First one is translation motion in three coordinates, then three rotational motions along the three coordinates. So total 6 degree of freedoms are there. I hope you have understood what is degree of freedom. So degree of freedom specifies the state of the element. Normally each node has 6 degree of freedom. Three linear means along x direction, along y direction, and z direction. Linear motion in three coordinates, and three rotary motion along these these coordinates. Now nodal forces, these are the forces that are applied to the FEM model and concentrate at the node. As we have discussed that this diagram, the corner points are called nodes. So the forces that are concentrated on nodes is discussed and is discussed as, or it is told that it is nodal force. Now boundary condition, these specify the constraint applied to different elements and nodes. So sometimes some constraints are to be applied on a particular uh, figure or some diagram. That particular constraints are called as boundary conditions. Now the quality of mesh depends on the quality on these four factors, like aspect ratio. How much aspect ratio, how much closely that figure is being uh, checked, closely that is divided into small parts. Now you can see that there are two diagrams, one on the left hand side and other on the right hand side. This particular diagram is divided into small mesh, but it is considered to be bad FEM mesh. But the mesh that is generated on right hand side, almost of equal shape and very equally distributed mesh, it is called a good quality. And this is called aspect ratio. Aspect ratio, its length to width ratio is called aspect. Q is how much closely it is attached to one another. Elements internal angles. Elements internal angles. When you have uneven shape, then the internal angles also vary. So you have to keep the internal angles of this mesh equal. Then only a better quality mesh will be made. Now you can divide the mesh into these figures that are on your screen. Now you can divide into, if it is a line, you can divide into two parts, a line into two nodes. It can be in three nodes also. Now a triangle, you can divide a particular shape. Say it is a 2D figure. You can divide it into triangle. You can divide it into the quadrilateral. You can divide it into this again triangle with 6 nodes. It is a triangle with 3 nodes and three dots, and you can divide it into 6 nodes also. Similarly, you can divide that quadrilateral or square into uh, having 4 nodes, or you can have 8 nodes also. Similarly, for 3D figures, if it is a 3D figure and tetrahedron, with 4 nodes. You can divide it into 10 nodes also. And 3D figure hexahedron, you can divide into 8 nodes and it can have 20 nodes also. So this is pentahedron having 5 sides, then this is having 6 nodes, then it is having 15 nodes. So depends on you how much what type of shape you want. You can divide that particular that whatever, if it is a 3D figure, and you can divide that 3D figure into number of small 3D a tetrahedron, hexahedron, pentahedron, or you can divide that into this triangles. If it is a 2D figure, that can be divided into triangles, quadrilateral, and this sphere, so on. If you have some questions. Now phases in FEM. If you want to apply FEM somewhere, what are different procedures or what are phases of FEM? Now first is pre-processing, understanding the process. Now what type of analysis is required? You must understand the problem that is there. First of all, whether it is thermal problem, it is spectral or dynamic problem. Whether you want to apply fluid related problem, whether you want to apply for stress related problem, and so on. Elemental section, then you check for the section that is there. You, it is a 3D body, then 2D body or 1D, etc. And you can divide that into mesh. Then only that you can decide that mesh will be 3D or 2D. Deciding the boundary conditions, constraints. So what are the boundary conditions? Like when you're talking about boundary conditions, like that you're designing a frame of a car. Oh, just like a Baha car is being designed in our college. The boundary condition for that is when it is turning, it should have a speed of 15 kilometer per second, and while taking a turn, it should not overturn. Right? Overturning of the car should not be there. So to avoid that overturning, these are the boundary conditions that the car should not be overturned. Similarly, when it is attaining a speed of 50 kilometers and it has to and one has to apply brake, you will be given only 5 meters space not to hit the wall, then this will be the boundary condition. So boundary conditions are to be applied. Load application, whether the load is point load, surface load, body load, depends on what type of load is being applied in that particular body that is under consideration. Analysis, programmer drives the governing matrix equation from the model solves for the primary quantity. So primary quantities, you must be able to solve the matrix that is being derived. Post processing of results. Whatever the result that software will give us, you must check the validity of particular validity of that result that is given by that particular board. Post processing of the result, validity check of the solution. Whatever the solution that the software has given us, you should check the validity of that. Then report preparation, you have given that analysis report is given to you. Now you have to prepare a report for that. Observation and conclusion from analysis. Whatever the report is being generated or whatever the observations are there, then you have to tabulate that the observation and calculation whether it is the design is okay or not. Suppose it is just I have shown you some diagrams, like it has more red areas than green and blue areas, then it is more prone to fracture over there. Then you have to change the design so that no more red areas are produced and red areas are eliminated from that particular design. Right? So sometimes suggestions and recommendations for the design change is always given. Right? This particular area is giving red areas, and you have to change the design or material so that it may not fracture at that particular point. So this is the CAD geometry that you have created in your AutoCAD or some CAD software, and then we have simplified that. corners are very smooth in this particular case. I created so that it can be simplified, simply used in FEA. Now we put it in FEA tool, FEA software for stress analysis. Now that model is being converted into mesh. This is the mesh that is generated on the surface. Like this is the FEA model, pre-processing and post-processing. Now after it has passed through FEA, it will give you results like this. It will give you blue areas, green areas, yellow areas, and red areas. Up to yellow areas, it is okay. When it gives you red areas, that means it is prone to fracture or it is not the desirable condition. Red areas means danger part. It should be, and it should be, the design at that particular point should be changed, or material should be changed so that a better stress resistant material can be used over there. So on. Now development of finite element equation. Finite element equation must be incorporate the appropriate physics of the problem. Whatever is required, whether it's stress analysis, whether thermal analysis, whatever is required, then you have to incorporate some appropriate physics of the problem. For problems and structures, solid mechanics, the appropriate physics come from either strength of material or theory of elasticity. When you're talking about strength of material, structural solid mechanics means strength of material. You have to apply theories related to elasticity or strength of material that is sustained in that case. The response parameter for different cases. You can have this KUF. K is the property, U is the behavior, and F is the action required. Action. Now, elastic, the property is stiffness, and behavior is displacement. How much displacement it is given, and action is force when force is applied across. When force is applied, stiffness or displacement is there. Then thermal, if you want to check for the thermal conductivity of particular material, what is done? You will check for the conductivity of the material property, that is conductivity. Behavior, what is the behavior of that particular material, whether it is representing some temperature, showing some temperature change. How to check that? You can apply heat source along with it. So then fluid related, if you want to check for the fluid related properties, something or fluid related analysis is to be done. What is the property? Viscosity is the property that to be checked. How to check the viscosity? You can change the body force, and then if the velocity changes, that means uh, velocity is varying. You can check for the viscosity of that. Similarly, electrostatic, it can be checked with the dielectric permittivity, and it is being checked with the help of, if you pass on charge through it, then it will give you electric potential. Electric potential will be shown with the help of it. Right? So this is up to this. If you have some problem, so what is the advantages of when you are using this SEM? So what is the advantage of this? Physical properties which are inspectable, complex for the boundary solution can be analyzed with this method. Sometimes the problems that are very much difficult to be solved with your traditional methods for calculation of stresses and that viscosity and all that, then you can use this method to solve that. It can take care of any geometry. Sometimes the geometry is very irregular and you are not able to solve that by dividing that into normal figures. Then this method is being used for any type of method. It can take care of any boundary condition. Boundary condition can be any. As I have told you that boundary condition, what is the boundary condition for particular Bahad car that can be used. So any type of boundary condition can be used for this FEM analysis. Material anisotropy, non-homogeneity can be captured without any difficulty. I hope you understand what is anisotropy and what is non-homogeneity. Uh, the irregular materials, but the, when the composition is not okay, we call it an anisotropy and non-homogeneity. Not homogeneously distributed material. If material is not homogeneous distribution, not in so it is the property of a material. So if it is not okay, then again it is not a difficulty for that calculation purpose. It can take care of any type of loading, whether point load, uniformly distributed load, any type of load that is being applied can be calculated with the help of this estimate. Safe simulation of potential dangerous, destructive, or practical load conditions. In this case, it is very much safe process. You are using potentially, if it is dangerous to work on, you can use this FEM method to calculate for any type of calculation without any destructive method. Though it may be destructive in actual nature, but when you are calculating on computer or some software, it is very much easy for that. The simultaneous calculation and visual representation of a variety of physical parameters, such as stress or temperature, enabling the designer to rapidly analyze performance modification. When you are going for this, let us check this. You are checking for some thermal conductivity. That you have checked for some heat source. You applied some heat source. The temperature is increasing. You can change the material accordingly at the moment. It is not that costly process that you have to apply for the material, to change the material, and then you have to change the design again. You are just doing it on computer. Just by changing slightly some values, you can change the design on the computer itself. So it is quite easy process. It enables the computer programming. With this, you are able to do any type of programming also. In this method, approximations are confined to small subdomains. In this method, basically, you are not using approximate methods or approximate techniques are not used, and complete values are given to you. If you are having some advantages of FEM, there may be some disadvantages also. So the disadvantages of FEM, proper engineering judgment is to be exercised to interpret results. So the software is giving you results. The proper engineering knowledge is very compulsory to read the report that is being generated by the software. Until and unless you know the complete knowledge about the particular thing, then you cannot understand that. If you doesn't know the complete, if you doesn't have that total knowledge about the particular subject, if you are talking about strength of material, if you don't know the different aspects of that strength of material, you cannot judge what is the result that is being given by the software. The computational time involved in the solution of the problem is high. Now, in this case, as the object is being divided into a number of small parts, now the computational time is also very high. So it requires some time also. For fluid dynamic problems, some other method of analysis prove efficient than estimate. When you're talking about fluid mechanics, some CFD problems, CFD computational fluid dynamics method is proved to be better than FEM method, right? In generally, in fluid mechanics, we are not using FEM method for calculation purpose. We are using computational fluid dynamics method to calculate for viscosity and all that. So it is a heavy software and requires a large computer memory to use FEM in that with any of the computers. So this is all about FEM. If you have some questions, you can ask.